I'm Aria Harley. I'm recording the demonstration for the NASA ASU Psyche Sampling Simulator project. On our title screen, we have the disclaimer that our client required us to use, and a credit screen that gives information on the source for the assets in the game, as well as all of our names, our industry mentor, and our advisors from Penn State Barron. On the settings screen, we can adjust the Asteroid scale, which is mostly for performance reasons. You can select anything from tiny, subtle, or realistic. We'll set that to subtle for this demonstration. We can set the difficulty here as well. The difficulty determines how much fuel is used to move a given distance and how easy it is to crash the craft into the ground and destroy it. We'll set that to medium. If we hit start, we'll be put into the simulation and see terrain begin to generate around us. We can see our craft with thrusters on all sides and solar panels as well as landing legs. Here we can see a velocity meter that slowly increases as we accelerate towards the ground. On the bottom left, there's a panel that gives us information about the nearby points of interest. The goal of the simulation is to sample as many points of interest as possible and gain points for researching them. Here we can see that a source of tungsten has been found nearby. We rotate to face it and give ourselves a little upward acceleration to avoid hitting the ground. We use the cancel rotation key, R, to prevent ourselves from rotating too far out of line, and then we move towards the points of interest. When landing on a curved surface like this, we should align ourselves to the surface to avoid hitting the ground too hard or losing our balance. We've successfully come to a stop on the surface of Psyche within enough distance of this piece of tungsten. As a result of this, the Take Sample button is now active. We can hit the Take Sample button to play an animation. The drill samples a portion of Psyche's surface next to this point of interest, and when the animation finishes, that point of interest disappears. We're informed that we've collected a sample from Psyche's surface, and we get 100 points. We're actually still close enough to this point of interest to sample it again. If we press the button again, we can see the same animation play out. You'll notice that this time we only got 50 points. There's diminishing returns to sampling the same kind of point of interest multiple times. The next point of interest that we sample, if it happens to be tungsten, will give us only 25 points, and so on. Nearby, next to this tungsten source, is a source of gold. We're slightly misaligned with the ground. We'll use our alignment panel and click radial out to align ourselves with the surface of Psyche. Once that's finished, we can rotate to face the gold, stop ourselves, and slowly move towards it. Because we're in the vacuum of space, we need to cancel our velocity by moving forward if we want to move backwards, and vice versa. We slowly accelerate downwards to get closer to the gold faster, and align ourselves with the surface roughly to make it easier to land. We give ourselves a slight upward acceleration to slow down before we hit the ground, and land right next to a piece of gold. Once we've stopped securely on the ground, we can take a sample here. You can see that we've received another 100 points because this is the first time that we've sampled gold. If we were to sample it again, we would still only get 50. Let's take back off and get a view of the landscape. It's not obvious from all the way down here, but Psyche is a round object. You can go completely around it, get into orbit, or find the complete opposite side of Psyche. You might see in the bottom center of the screen a ball slowly rotating as the craft does. This gives us an idea of our heading relative to the center of Psyche. We're slowly spinning out of control here, so we can use the radial out button to align ourselves straight up and down again. There are two ways to end the simulation. The first is to completely use up your supply of fuel, which on this difficulty setting would take quite a while. There's also the option of breaking the craft by hitting the ground too hard. Depending on your difficulty setting, the faster you move towards the ground, the more likely you are to break the craft and lose signal with it. On medium, you need to be going about 15 meters per second in order to have a problem. As the velocity meter gets more full, it becomes more apparent that we are going too fast. The velocity meter requires less velocity to fill on the higher difficulty settings to give you a better idea of the speed that you need to be moving to damage the craft. We are going well over the limit for the speed on medium, so when we hit the ground, we're going to lose contact with the spacecraft. We can see here that the craft has lost control. None of our controls work. The sampling button just reads LOS, and none of our alignment buttons work. Our only option here is to return to the main menu and start the simulation again. Thank you.